The unsolved 1950s Glasgow murder of Betty Alexander. Betty Alexander went missing from her home at 43 Buccleuch Street in Glasgow. Her parents last saw her at 5:30 p.m. on the 7th of October 1952. An investigation was soon started by Chief Detective Inspector Neil Beaton, as well as search teams and support from locals in the area. The police made extensive searches for the 4-year-old Betty Alexander, with searches taking place in dark closes and disused air raid shelters, but little Betty has not yet been found. Betty's photograph was put up in all police boxes and stations to help generate any leads from the public. A neighbour of the Alexander family did inform police that she saw a small girl being led off by a short, stout, middle-aged man in a blue suit. This lead wasn't successful to trace Betty. A group of mothers from the Garnet Hill area started a search, which was led by Mrs. Rose McGinley, a neighbour of the Alexander family. They set out and scoured the Anderston and Partick areas. Mrs. McGinley told the Daily Mail that the mothers had been neglecting their homes to help look for the little girl. Buccleuch Street, which was usually filled with children playing, was now deserted, as mothers now met their children at the school gates and then rushed home and locked their doors. The disappearance of Betty put fear in local families for their children. A description of Betty was published in the local papers and searches continued. On the 10th of October 1952, a cleaner, Agnes Hunter, who worked at the Sick Children's Dispensary, was at work and took the carpets out into the yard to be cleaned when she made a shocking discovery. Little Betty's body was sat propped up against the steps of the boundary wall. This is part 1 of Betty Alexander's case. Part 2 looks at leads and evidence collected by the police.